You wanted to see me, Dr. Watson?
Ah, there you are, Barrymore. Yes. I'm not quite exactly sure how to put this.
Ma'am?
I mean, I'm not exactly sure of what I heard. Last night, around midnight, did you hear the sound of a woman sobbing?
I did not. But perhaps it was the wind. Yes, the wind racing on the moor. It can make all sorts of strange noises.
The sound was most certainly coming from inside the house, not on the moor. I thought perhaps it might have been Mrs. Barrymore.
We share the same room, Doctor. My wife were crying, I would know.
Perhaps it could have been Perkins, the maid.
That's highly unlikely. Perkins seldom spends the night. She lives with her family on the Grimpenmeyer Road.
Well, perhaps you're right, the wind racing on the moor.
Yes. Well, I will be going into the village later this afternoon, Dr. Watson. If there's anything I might get you.
No, thank you, Barrymore. I'll be going in myself.
Very well, ma'am.
One moment, Barrymore. You've been in service here for quite some time, haven't you?
My father was the caretaker. Our family has looked after this hall for 4 generations.
In that case, you know the families that inhabit the moor.
I do.
Come over here and have a look at this map. I see Dr. Mortimer's cottage here, and Baskerville Hall clearly marked. But who lives here, northeast of the Great Rocks?
That is the house of Mr. Franklin.
Mr. Franklin, elderly man, choleric, with a beard.
I see you've met him.
Bumped into him at the post office, a most disagreeable sort. And whose cottage is that?
That is Mr. Stapleton and his sister.
Ah, Sir Henry's friend, Beryl Stapleton. What is she like?
Quite lively.
And her brother, Jack.
But I have met him only once. It was on the moor. He was chasing butterflies.
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 Oh, yes. So here we have the cottages of Dr. Mortimer, the Stapletons, and Mr. Franklin. Mr. Franklin lives alone.
Well, he does. Now,
No family.
he has a daughter.
Where's she?
I think I hear Sir Henry and Miss Stapleton coming now.
But I asked you about Mr. Franklin's daughter. What about his daughter?
Her name is Laura.
Very well. Why make such a mystery of it?
Never mind the flowers, I want a bit of lunch.
Sir Henry, you certainly look as if you've been enjoying yourself.
Beryl's taken me to 2 of the old huts. I had no idea the moor was riddled with old mine shafts. Yes, very well.
Oh, sir, I was wondering if I might have a private word with you, sir.
Certainly. What is it?
Why don't I introduce myself to your lady friend?
We won't be long. Well?
Well, Sir Henry, my wife and I would be pleased to stay on with you until you've made fresh arrangements.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, only that under the new conditions, this house will require a change in staff.
I'm not sure I understand what you're driving at. What new conditions?
Sir Charles led a retired life, Sir Henry, and we were able to look after his wants, but you will require more company. And that will require changes in your household.
I'm perfectly fine with you and your wife. Isn't Perkins of some help?
Oh, I'm afraid not, sir. She's a village girl. She's from Arlington. She's not terribly bright.
So what you're really saying is you and your wife wish to leave?
Only when it's convenient for you, Sir Henry.
This is bad news. I didn't want to start my new life here by breaking an old family tradition.
Mrs. Barrymore and I were very attached to Sir Charles, and his death has given us quite a shock. I fear we will never again be at ease here at Baskerville Hall.
What will you do?
Start ourselves in some business. Sir Charles' generosity has given us the means to do so.
Well, I won't try to argue with you, but we will talk about this later.
Very well, sir.
You? Is it safe?
Barrymore's left, if that's what you mean.
These should be keeping water.
I'll ring for Perkins.
They don't last long. It's a pity. Come along, Dr. Watson. The coast is clear. Aren't they lovely?
They are when you hold them, my dear.
What was all the mystery with Barrymore?
Barrymore, he wants to leave.
What?
That's what he tells me.
I thought the Barrymores came with the wallpaper.
As did I.
That will present a problem. Villagers don't like to work on the moor.
One can only blame them. I'm grateful that Baskerville Hall has modern plumbing, but I would feel more at home if it had a telephone.
Ugh, there are no phones on the moor, only in the village.
That sense of isolation doesn't trouble you?
Nothing troubles Beryl.
That's not true, especially when the mist is thick. It frightens me.
I can't help but wonder why such a vital young woman would want to tuck herself away in this lonely corner of England.
Well, it wasn't exactly by choice. My brother and I had a school in the North Country. I'm afraid the fates were against us.
How so?
A serious epidemic broke out at the school. 2 of the lads never recovered.
Bad luck indeed.
Our capital was used up and poor Jack was devastated. He hasn't recovered yet. Still, the moor is good for him.
Why?
He's mad about botany and zoology. He keeps his mind occupied and our expenses are minimal. He has his butterflies, I have my books, and we both have interesting neighbors.
You rang for me, Sir Henry?
Ah, Perkins. Put these in water, won't you?
Oh, yes, sir.
No, just bring a box. I'll arrange them myself.
Yes, madam. It's been seen again, Dr. Watson.
What?
The Hound.
Go along, Perkins. We'll talk later.
Wait.
Sir Henry, let me deal with this.
There's no use in trying to protect my sensibilities, Doctor. What's this about the Hound?
Well, it's only that Dr. Watson asked me to report anything that I heard in the village.
What did you hear?
Well, it's not what I heard, Sir Henry. It's what Mr. Blake heard.
Blake?
The greengrocer. The man's adult.
Well, well, what did he see and hear?
He was on his bicycle, and he heard a long, low moan sweep across the moor.
I've heard it myself once or twice.
What?
The bogs. They make odd noises. It's the mud settling and the water rising or something.
That's not what Mr. Blake said.
My own guess would be a bittern booming.
Good gracious, what's that?
A bittern is a very rare exotic bird, practically extinct in England now. But all things are possible on moor. I wouldn't be at all surprised if what poor Mr. Blake heard was the cry of the last of the bitterns.
That'll be all, Perkins.
Yes, Sir Henry.
Seems as if all of my servants are in a bit of a mood.
Indeed. I tried to get Barrymore to tell me about old Franklin's daughter, and he pointedly avoided the subject.
He's not one for gossip.
It's a sad situation. She married an impoverished artist named Lyons who came to sketch on the moor. Well, he turned out to be a blackguard and deserted her. And now her father will have nothing to do with her because she married without his consent.
Well, why couldn't Barrymore have told me as much?
When you've been here a while, you'll realize these people are clannish and protective of one another.
In that case, I'll excuse myself and have a word or two with Mrs. Barrymore.
Seems as if I've come into an inheritance with a vengeance.
Oh, I wouldn't pay much attention to village chatter. They're a superstitious lot.
The Hound is the pet story of my family.
That's a bad joke, Henry.
I've heard about it ever since I was in the nursery. I didn't realize I should be taking it as serious.
You're not thinking of doing so.
This whole business with my uncle is boiling up in my head, and I really don't know what's clear.
Henry, there's a sane, rational explanation for everything that's happened. Here, I have something for you. I couldn't resist.
It's a beauty.
I saw the watch in the jewelry store window. The letter B is engraved on the back.
You shouldn't have. You won't save money giving me gifts such as this.
Oh, this gift is special.
Then I must secure something extra special for you. You know, when I came onto the moor, I thought I'd find no one but rustics and eccentrics.
I'm on the moor.
You're far from being a rustic, and you are no eccentric.
Yeah. I'll thank you to keep your attentions from my sister, Sir Henry.
Jack, what's the matter with you?
I'll deal with you later.
Stop it.
Aren't you behaving badly, Stapleton?
How I'm behaving is my own concern.
Jack, what's the matter with you?
Just because you're rich and have a title, you think you can do as you want.
I'm not going to stay and listen to this a
Rich
minute
and
longer.
powerful, you're all the same. You stay away from her, she's not for you.
You have no right. Who do you think you are? I shall see her as often as she permits it.
Then I'll see that she doesn't permit it.
Then I will thank you to stay out of Baskerville Hall.
I won't warn you again. Stay away from Beryl.
What was all that?
Stapleton, the man's a lunatic. Came in here, got into a rage when he saw his sister and I close.
Perhaps he's on the verge of a nervous breakdown. You know, he hasn't been well.
He's liable to do Beryl some harm.
So Henry, be careful out there.
Not afraid of Stapleton and his bad temper.
Here's the vase of flowers, miss. Dr. Watson, where's Miss Barrow?
Gone.
Oh, well, what about the flowers?
Just put them there.
You know, I wasn't allowed to finish, madam. About Mr. Blake. It's not only that he heard the hound, he saw it.
When?
Last night.
How did he describe it?
More like a great dark shape than anything else. Moving so quickly, Mr. Blake feared for his own life.
If it were only a great dark shape, how can he be sure of what he saw?
Because it had fiery red eyes, and it was breathing flame. Do you believe it, Dr. Watson?
Yes, Perkins, I'm sorry to say that I do.
But why, madam?
Because I myself caught a glimpse of what he saw last night on the moor.
The Hound of the Baskervilles?
No, Perkins. A hound of hell.